What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the show. Another Thursday, another episode of Simply Sessions. I am on the road right now. I am in Riga, Latvia for two things. Nostriga, the two-day Nostra conference, and of course Baltic Honey Badger, the most OG conference out there. So very excited to be here. Very excited to see and partake and be a part of this event. But of course, we got to bring you guys the news. Of course, Nico's in the wings. He's going to be bringing you the latest and greatest and everything going on in Bitcoin, and then I'm going to follow up with some tech updates here. Thank you guys for being here as always, and we're going to dive in. I'm Ben with the BTC Sessions. This is your Simply Session.
Hodl the Bitcoin.
Bitcoin Well is on a mission to enable independence by being one of the easiest and quickest ways to purchase Bitcoin in Canada and the US. And the best part about it, every buy goes directly into your own self-custody. They never hold your coins. You can add a Bitcoin address as part of onboarding. There's a transparent 1% spread, no hidden fees, no withdrawal fees. Plus they have KYC free sells and bill payments on their website. They're also a publicly traded company under the ticker BTCW on the TSXV. Check them out over at bitcoinwell.com. Check out my full tutorial on how to use them, and you can check out the links in the show notes down below and sign up today. Keeper is a mobile Bitcoin application for managing and securing your funds for the long term. You can set up hot wallets for day-to-day spending or create digital vaults for deep cold storage. They also offer assisted multi-sig options as well as inheritance planning. And on top of that, Keeper boasts a long list of support for Bitcoin hardware, longer than I've seen for any other mobile application. You can check them out today by searching Bitcoin Keeper in your app store or heading to bitcoinkeeper.app.
Yo, welcome to another Simply Sessions, recording live from Puerto Rico. Ben's traveling, I'm traveling. I guess it's summer. This is what's happening, but the show don't stop. The news must continue. So let's get to it. First up, Peter Thiel went on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast. And he kind of said the part out loud. Again, you guys know that I love talking about the term the Overton window. The way that we win is the Overton window continues to shift, and Bitcoin and the Bitcoin ethos and Bitcoin policies start to become mainstream. One of my favorite quotes ever is that politics is downstream from culture. So the way that we win this, the way we want hyper Bitcoinization is we want most people asking very basic questions about what money is. Why does money have to lose purchasing power? And of course, all of those roads lead to Bitcoin. So here's Peter Thiel on the Joe Rogan podcast talking about Bitcoin as an invention.
Tech stagnation is that when something does happen, we don't even know how to process it. So, I think Bitcoin was a big invention. We can debate whether it was good or bad, but it was a pretty big deal. And it was systematically underestimated for at least, the first 10, 11 years. You could trade it. It went up smoothly for 10, 11 years. It didn't get repriced all at once because we're in a world where nothing big ever happens. And so we have no way of processing it when something pretty big happens. The internet was pretty big in 99. Bitcoin was moderately big. The internet was really big. Bitcoin was moderately big. And I'd say passing the Turing test is really big. It's on the same scale as the internet. Tech stagnation.
So he's talking about a couple things that have happened throughout really the last 20 years or so. Obviously, I think he's a little bit biased when he says Bitcoin is moderately big. I think we're still in the infancy, the early days of Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin is going to have monumental consequences to how society organizes itself because of how it changes the power dynamics and power structures between the individual and the state. But think about that, right? I'm my early 30s, and really Peter Thiel's making a great point here. Like, there really hasn't been too many monumental changes. Of course, the internet has completely changed, society. Bitcoin, right? I think it's still in its infancy. It's changing the way that people see money and the state. And then he's talking about AI, and I 100% agree. I think like I remember like the AI capabilities that are coming up, like ChatGPT, the fact you just ask it a question and it kind of responds to you as a human. We're still like in the very infancy of that. So, you know, the fact that Bitcoin is lumped in there, I think is a huge deal. And again, he's talking to Joe Rogan's audience. He's like 11 million people listening per episode. So the fact that Bitcoin is lumped in there, I think is a big deal. Here's Dave Smith speaking from the Bitcoin conference. Once again, you guys are going to hate me, but I'm going to say it anyways. Moving the Overton window. That's where we are in Bitcoin's history, ladies and gentlemen. We got to move that Overton window. We got more mainstream figures talking about Bitcoin. Bitcoin has entered into the political discussion. Trump endorsed it at the Bitcoin conference. RFK endorsed it. So we need more of that. We need more of the shift of the Overton window. Dave Smith is a popular kind of mainstream comedian. He was invited to talk about Bitcoin. He was invited to talk at the Bitcoin conference. And guess what? He talked about the importance of, you know what? Separating money from state, which is a message that we just keep saying over and over again. Let's check out what he has to say.
The more you learn about money and government control of money, you realize that that is the whole game. Everything else flows from that. Every evil thing that government does is only because they control the money supply. Like, take an evil thing that government does, and I'll explain how it's because they control the money supply, you know? Like, I mean, just think about, like, okay, we fought, like, a catastrophic 20-year war in Afghanistan that literally killed hundreds of thousands of people, cost trillions of dollars, and thousands of our bravest young boys died, and then tens of thousands committed suicide in the wake of the war, right? Well, just like imagine if they couldn't print the money for that war. Right. Imagine if they had to tax the American people every month for the war in Afghanistan. You think that thing would have lasted 20 years?
No way.
You'd have been lucky to get it through a year.
Yeah.
Before the people would have demanded a result. Like, what are you doing here? I mean, just imagine trying to do the lockdowns of 2020 if they couldn't just print trillions of dollars and pass them out. That people wouldn't have taken it. They would have been like, no, we're going back to work. We're not doing this. It's only because they control the money that they can get away with tyranny. Yeah. And listen, like, personally, like when I came up as a child of the Ron Paul presidential campaigns. Like, that's how I got interested in all of this stuff. And Ron Paul would always talk about the gold standard at the time. And don't get me wrong, I think a gold standard would be much, much better than what we have right now. The problem is that historically, what do nations do when they're on a gold standard and they need to fight a war? They just suspend the gold standard, you know? So the difference is that what Bitcoin brings is this decentralization, where if you were truly on a Bitcoin standard, someone in Washington, D.C. couldn't just say, we're going off the Bitcoin standard now. That's the power that Bitcoin has, that you can actually have a chance at separating money in the state. And that is the most important thing in the world to do.
I mean, come on. It's almost as if he's been tuning into Simply Sessions, right? 100% the root cause of societal misfunction, I 100% agree with him, is the government's unique ability to create money for free that the rest of us have to work for. And all the resource misallocations, the endless wars, the social programs that we can't afford, all the things that government is doing, they wouldn't be able to do this if they were on a Bitcoin standard, because the only way of raising money is via direct taxation. People are only going to put up with that for so long until they say, hey, you know what is the benefit of paying 2 or 3% of my income to fund a war in Ukraine? Like, the reason they're able to get away with this is because they have the hidden tax of inflation. In other news, the Kamala campaign once again has indicated that they are, quote unquote, changing their stance. But I'm going to continue to reiterate the message that I've been saying over the last couple of weeks. First of all, Bitcoin is a bipartisan issue. It helps everybody, no matter of your political leanings and ideology. However, talk is cheap, actions are expensive. And what's really interesting about this article, the headline is, for the audio listeners, Bloomberg, Harris supports policies to expand crypto industry, aide says. Now, what's really interesting is, let's compare and contrast. Trump and RFK say, I will protect self-custody and the right to mine. Kamala Kamala's aide, not Kamala, says support policies to expand industry. What does that mean? The Democratic official policy platform has been released, and if you search for the word crypto or digital assets, it is not included in the entire party platform. However, if you take a look at the Republican Party platform, very similar wording to Trump. If you go down to number 5, Republicans will pave the way for future economic greatness by leading the world in emerging industries. Republicans will end Democrats' unlawful and un-American crypto crackdown and oppose the creation of a central bank digital currency. We will defend the right to mine Bitcoin and ensure every American has the right to self-custody of their digital assets and transact free from government surveillance and control. So again, don't pay attention to what they say. Kamala is currently part of the executive branch. She can free Ross right now, or she could at least indicate that she's going to if she gets reelected. But these half measures of Harris supports policies to expand crypto, what does that mean, right? Like, there is no actionable words there. It's just this like vague statement in the hopes of gathering votes. But again, we have to remember what has happened in the last 3.5 years. Operation Choke Point 2.0, the denial of Caitlin Long's a federal banking charter for her bank, Custodia Bank, the proposed 30% mining tax on the Bitcoin mining industry, the arrest of open source developers, including the developers of Tornado Cash, which set the precedent, which led to the arrest of the Samurai Wallet developers. That all happened under the Biden-Harris administration. And the official Democratic Party platform was just released, and it doesn't even mention crypto, right? It doesn't even mention Bitcoin. Now, I did a little bit of further digging, and what's even a little bit more terrifying is, again, don't pay attention to what they say, pay attention to what their words. There was a bill that was introduced by the Republicans in the House that would specifically ban the Federal Reserve from issuing a CBDC. 213 Republicans voted yes, approving the ban. 4 didn't vote. 3 Democrats voted for the ban. 192 Democrats voted against a bill banning a CBDC. Now, makes you question, why would they do that? Here's Elizabeth Warren to explain.
In theory, a digital currency issued and backed by a central bank could provide the advantages of cryptocurrency without those risks. The Federal Reserve, a trusted institution, could provide a digital version of cash to the public that is secure, stable, and accepted everywhere. So let me ask you, Professor Menand, what role could a central bank digital currency play in reducing these kinds of risks to financial stability?
So a well-designed CBDC could serve as a public alternative to these cryptocurrencies and potentially crowd out their usage. In contrast to private digital currencies, CBDCs would be sovereign, non-defaultable money. They'd be cheaper to use, and they would not be subject to bank run dynamics.
Right. So that's very helpful.
Bank run dynamics. How could you have a bank run when people take self-custody? So again, like the issue here is, what I believe is happening is the reason that they're not being pro Bitcoin or pro digital assets or whatever you want to call them is because they want a monopoly to roll out a CBDC. Don't pay attention to their words, pay attention to their actions. That's a vote that happened this year. That's wording that's coming out of Elizabeth Warren that came recently, right? So that's what's happening right now. And unfortunately, as many people don't like this, and I do want to give a shout out to the progressive Bitcoiners. I do want to give a shout out to Dennis Porter, because I truly believe that Bitcoin is a bipartisan issue. It helps people from every side of the political aisle. However, the current Democratic Party has been very hostile towards the industry. I think they're being insincere in their recent messaging, and I think that their actions indicate that, not so much their words, right? So, unfortunately, it is what it is, and this election, I think, is going to have consequences for the regulatory environment in the United States 2025 and moving forward. So it looks like it's going to be Trump versus Harris. Trump is a pro-Bitcoin, anti-CBDC candidate, and Harris is an anti-Bitcoin, pro-CBDC candidate. So that's how it is. It's unfortunate. It's divisive. But I truly hope that, after this election is over and perhaps, the anti-Bitcoin party loses, it's obviously going to make them rethink that policy, because you can't ban Bitcoin. You can only ban yourself from Bitcoin. Banning Bitcoin is like trying to ban the internet. That's really how I see it. Anyways, guys, this was your Simply Sessions for August 2022. I'm Nico, host of Simply Bitcoin. Go check out the Simply Bitcoin channel if you want news.
CoinKite.com has some of the best hardware on the market today to secure your Bitcoin. The Cold Card Q is an absolute powerhouse and is my daily driver. And on top of this, they have plenty of other goodies, including the Mark IV, the Tap Signer, Open Dimes, the Block Clock, and much more. If you head over to their website, make sure you use code BTC Sessions at checkout to get a nice discount. Links are in the show notes down below. Debify.com allows you to borrow against your Bitcoin in a non-custodial way. Collateral is held in a 3 of 4 distributed multi-sig with trusted parties. It provides institutional liquidity providers, loan periods of up to 5 years with flexible conditions and the best rates. And best of all, no rehypothecation of your funds. If you want to check them out today, head over to Debify.com or hit the link in the show notes down below. Speed Wallet is a Bitcoin Lightning wallet built with simplicity in mind. Send and receive with ease, claim your own Lightning address, shop your favorite gift cards, and even earn rewards when you spend. Head over to speed.app to download the app on your mobile or desktop today, and be sure to use code BTC Sessions 10 to get 5,000 sats for free and the chance to win even more. All right, thank you, Nico. Let's dive right into the tech updates. First up, I want to chat about Fountain. Now, Fountain is, the podcasting 2.0, get zapped sats for podcasting, or zap your favorite artists as they podcast, and you're able to highlight certain aspects, make clips and share those. Fountain's a really awesome resource, but they are now, of course, plugging into Nostr, and I figured being at Nostriga, this is an awesome thing to bring up. Anyways, they're a Lightning-powered value-for-value podcasting app, and it's now a Nostr client. Your Fountain profile syncs with your Nostr profile, making your activity visible across the Nostr ecosystem. Now, they do have an awesome demo video here. They say, today we're excited to announce a massive update to Fountain that solves these problems with Nostr, a simple decentralized messaging protocol that allows social activity to be shared across different apps. So what's new? You can connect or create a Nostr profile in the Fountain app. You can share your boosts and comments on Nostr. So if you like something about a pod or you comment on a pod, you can share those directly to your Nostr profile. You have a new improved home feed. The audio posts from Nostr clients now appear in the Fountain app as well. Of course, listeners on Fountain and other Nostr clients can zap your post and send payments, replacing the earlier likes and mentions. You can obviously mention and comment and mention other Nostr users by using their username and everything. Anyways, highly recommend you check out their video. They've shared it on YouTube, Awesome stuff. Very excited about this. Moving on, Seed Signer version 0.8.0, the low time preference release. And I love this project as well. Their quote, "It's admittedly been a minute since our last release. We've always built carefully and deliberately, and we continue to refine our software so Bitcoiners everywhere can have a better and better permissionless signing device." So some of the highlights, they've have additional legacy signing support. So all those old legacy addresses and legacy multisig are now supported. You also have some quality of life improvements in and around QR scanning, like animated QR scanning. Some people encountered this stuck at 99% progress when scanning animated QRs. That has now been mitigated. So they also have support for PSBTs with op returns, and you can import Electrum seeds. Awesome. Stoked to see the new Seed Signer release. Moving on, BitAxe. So I covered something called the NerdAxe. This is the original project, the BitAxe. NerdAxe is a fork, and these are at-home miners. low cost, low power. Don't expect to make like a bunch of money from these things, but if you're curious about home mining and you want it as a learning project or a bit of a forever lottery ticket, then they're pretty cool. So this is the new release, the 5th major revision of the BitAxe, and this uses an ASIC chip from the Antminer S21 Pro. So this is an upgrade from previous versions of the BitAxe. So quote, the BitAxe Gamma is Go, the newest member of the BitAxe lineup, features the BM1370 ASIC from the Antminer S21 Pro. So far, we've been able to pull 1 to 1.2 terahash at around 15 joules per terahash from a single chip. Massive shout out to Altair Tech for the early S21 Pro hashboard, and so on and so forth. Anyways, these are awesome, awesome machines. Highly recommend if, again, you're curious, you want to learn about mining, and it's not super expensive to run a BitAxe. So love this project and what they're doing, and home mining for the win. Moving on, Blue Wallet version 7.0.0, they have now added BIP47 payment codes. They're available to everyone. This is a payment code is basically not having to provide a Bitcoin address. It's a reusable payment code that can be posted anywhere, and it preserves the privacy of individual addresses. A new address will be generated for everyone that queries your payment code without that being recycled over and over again. So it's a privacy improvement for on-chain payments. And all you have to do is you go into settings and you enable it, and then you'll have the toggle switch between address or payment code, which is really, really cool. So awesome. Kudos to Blue Wallet. And one more thing I wanted to touch on here, BISC version 2.1.0 support Lightning Network as additional Bitcoin settlement method. Love to see this with these peer-to-peer exchanges. BISC 2 is set to be the successor to BISC 1 and will support multiple trade protocols, multiple privacy networks, and multiple identities. So the latest version, 2.1.0, brings support for the Lightning Network as an additional Bitcoin settlement method, a QR scanner, upgraded chats, improved Tor startup, and more. Quote, if you've been waiting to try BISC 2 and the new BISC Easy Trade Protocol, version 2.1 is a great time to do so. With plenty of offers and liquidity across major markets, we hope BISC Easy will become the place you send your friends and family to start stacking sats right away. So basically, they have support of Lightning Network as a settlement method. QR scanner is included to increase ease of input of addresses and Lightning invoices. Chats have been upgraded with new additions such as reactions, the real user activity as liveness state indicator, to see if your peer is online. So if you're interacting and trading with somebody, are they there? Use users selected language for trade log messages, improvement of Tor startup, Unix support, and fixed all known issues related to notifications. So again, love to see updates with things like BISC. I've admittedly been dragging my heels on diving into BISC 2. I did do a tutorial on the original BISC, but from poking around just my initial looks at this, it is a lot easier to navigate. BISC 1 was definitely a bit of an undertaking for like a brand newcomer to be acquainted with. This one seems a lot simpler, especially with BISC Easy. So yeah, love to see this. And congrats to everybody at BISC for this next release. I'm going to be keeping it short today, in that, of course, I'm on the road and I've got to lots to do, lots of people to see. I'm actually headed to Nostriga right now. It's already kind of started for the day, but I had to get everything put together here. But again, thank you guys for joining in. If you have not already, please do like, subscribe, share, all those things. They help a ton getting this content in front of more eyeballs. If you want to hit up the previously mentioned sponsors down below, you can do so right there. And finally, if you are poking around on the channel, and you're going through some of the tutorials and you need some additional help, then please do reach out to my team over at bitcoinmentor.io. We have an incredible group of Bitcoin educators, and they can help you through just about anything that you're working through: wallets, hardware, multi-sig, running a node, home mining, privacy, multi-sig, all of that stuff. They can help you through it and make sure that you are fully self-sufficient. Anyways, with that, I am out. Have yourselves a wonderful day or evening, wherever you may be. I'll see you guys next time for your Simply Session.
Hodl the Bitcoin.